Welcome to Innovate and Educate Creative Bulletin News. I'm Yvette Foster, and I'm so excited to present to you, future teacher, this format where you're going to be able to learn about innovation thanks to the contribution of very experienced teachers from different stages of education. They will share with us their active methodologies and how they enhance in their students the learning to learn process. So, are you ready? Let's take off and learn. Welcome to Innovate and Educate Creative Bulletin News. This is episode number 32. And this time it's going to be in English because most of the episodes that I've been doing so far have been in Spanish, but this time it's going to be in English. This is good for me to keep on practicing the language, and besides because I have the honor to count with the presence of an artist. His name is Damiano Fina. I was able to appreciate his work 2 months ago in a congress that the University Autónoma of Madrid organized of pedagogy of death education. And so, welcome, Damiano. I'm so flattered to have you here. I'm a little nervous too because after observing your magnificent work is like I feel honored to have you here, and so I'm so grateful for that too. Welcome, Damiano.
Thank you, Iveta. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also very happy to be here and to share some thoughts about dance and death and what can tells us today Butoh dance.
Yeah, exactly. Butoh dance, because your experience, your professional experience is outstanding. I told you when we were able to meet, during those days, you're quite young. For me, you're very young. And
Mhm.
when I was reading all those things, all these things that you do, like, you are a tutor and a teacher of a master's in creative art therapy. You, in which university that right now I can't remember.
Now I'm tutor of this master. It's a master in creative arts therapy in Padova, and Padova it's in north east Italy.
Exactly, yeah. Plus, you are a Butoh dance, how to call it, facilitator, performer, because
Performer and also teacher, yes.
exactly, you're a teacher, a writer. You have written three, well, besides that, you write articles in many scientific magazines, I presume. You have written down three books. One of them is Spring of a Dancer, Letter to My Mom, and the one that to be honest, it was the one that caught my attention and that I bought, Dance and Alchemy,
That's an
right?
act, yes.
Yeah. Plus, you have a podcast called Waiting, where you express your perspective about life and death,
Yes.
and a film.
And the
Uh,
film, yes, Spring of a
yeah.
Dancer, that comes like a film and a podcast and also a book.
So you never stop, but you stop at the same time, huh?
Sometimes I sleep a lot.
Yeah, yeah. That's necessary.
It's
I can
necessary.
assume.
And
Yeah.
for me, it's very important also it's like another life, when you dream and you go into another world. And it's also a great experience we have. Sometimes we also dream while we are dancing. It's very
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. Um, when I read the book, I received it last week, and I started reading the book, and it's been a pleasure to. It took me to be more present while I was reading it.
Mm.
I was navigating, in each chapter. It's how you unfold or unbreak very in a very descriptive and pedagogical way, to be honest, what how do I pronounce FÜYA method or
FÜYA is perfect.
FÜYA? Oh, whoa, the FÜYA method, and how you teach through these lines what is the importance of the performance and the dance and this alchemical body.
Mm.
Then this morning I was reflecting about it, and I thought, okay, I was very fortunate to see you first perform,
Mhm.
because thanks to I was able to visualize while I was reading, you know, your thoughts. I I had the previous image of you in movement. So
Mhm.
for me it was quite I was completely moved by that. So I said, now I understand what Damiano is saying when you don't need to understand when you are moving, when you are expressing yourself, when you are performing, but then I understand all the research that you have done in order to come to these magnificent, pieces of art. So, uh, what took you to this? What's your journey, Damiano?
My journey started from a performance art because I was studying in Venice for 5 years during my university bachelor degree and master's degree in economics and management of arts. So always with 2 feet in two different, what we think are different fields like economics and management and arts. And I was very keen on performance art, in particular on the work of Marina Abramovic and Joseph Beuys, and also Actionismus, Wiener Actionismus. And that's why there is an entire chapter in my book about dance and alchemy about performance art, because that place was my start place in the art fields. I was very interested in how the body um, can go in another dimension, that is the ritual dimension. And I was very interested in this kind of artists because they were using also Anna Mendieta, for example. They were using the body with the simple gestures, so no technical capabilities, no dance at all, for example, just the body and action, doing something maybe in a very repetitive way, maybe sometimes very slowly or faster and faster, or using some objects or going to nature, just to open up a new dimension. And that was my beginning. And I was in Lisbona, for an art residency, and they watched me, some teachers, and they say to me that I had to meet Atsushi Takinouchi. And when I came back in Italy, he was actually dancing and teaching in Venice, like 2 weeks after this residency in Lisbona. So it was like destiny. And for me, the first time I was in his teaching method, doing Butoh for the first time, it was 11 years ago. For me, I felt like home. That was my body and the practice that was perfect for open what I was looking for.
Mhm.
And so that's the beginning, yes. And so that's why I wanted to write an entire chapter about performance art, because for me it's very interesting that kind of that form of art, to understand how we can do something with our body artistically today. Um, Also joining the theme of revolution. We are living in a moment with new wars, new struggles, and it's very similar to that period of the 60s. And also, Butoh dance comes from the late 50s in Japan. So during an after Second World War period, and it was just like listening to the body, and these artists were trying to find a new meaning for the existence after that. And I think now it's very important to know that story, and also to use these materials today. I think today we are more focused on the performativity of the body, like athleticism, for example, and we miss the ritual part. So that's why for me it's very important to, um, with my methodology, that is FÜYA method, to open up all our possibilities. So that's why I talk about the alchemical body, that it's not only our physical body or our psychological body that I call emotive body, and it's not only also spiritual. I call a spiritual body what is not human related. So our capability to become animals while we are dancing, or our capabilities to breathe, to breathe like a tree, for example. This is what I call the spiritual body. But there is also another fourth dimension that I call the remote body. That is the possibility to join someone that is not here, or the death, for example, spirits, or also a friend that is from an opposite dimension, for example, another dimension, another world, or also to dance for all those lives that with their deaths gave us the possibility to be here now. And this is very connected to the essence of Butoh dance.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was born in the early 70s. Okay. So when it helped me a lot to read, for example, this particular chapter related to the history of performance, because it connected to me to something that, to be honest, I ignored. But at the same time, I was able to get, the feeling of what was going on in the outer world, right? Like in the environment. No, so on the other hand, you also mix or merge both cultures, the Eastern culture and the Western culture,
Yes,
and how they are interrelated. And at the same time, while I was reading that, and then how you afterwards you connected to mysticism,
yes,
to mythology, to nature. As a Mexican, when you were talking about there's the chapter of the sun and the moon, and I was thinking, for example, how for the Aztecs or the Mayans, no, the sun and the moon were like the main forces of how the world functioned, or their world used to function for that in this connection. Uh, Plus the four seasons,
yes,
when and then this process of the four seasons, and how is getting ready for life and death, and how life and death are the same.
yes.
So it was quite magical for me to read that. How were you able to come up with all this magic?
I
Damiano?
think it's inside of us, of every one of us. And I think this is the link between, you mentioned Western culture and Eastern culture. I think we are very similar. If we go to the roots of our humanity, that is no more just human. And that is very interesting for me because when we go to mythology, we see a lot of links in between many different cultures and many different places in the earth, but also different times and periods. And it's very interesting. So, with Jungian words, we can say that there are archetypes maybe inside of us. But I think this is something that we can have experience, not just with our thoughts. So, using psychology, for example, but also when we dance, we feel that dimension. And this is what I want to stress with my FÜYA method, that
Mm,
when we dance, we feel our alchemical body. We start to think and also feel while we are dancing, and we start also to um, feel the body and think about our memories and feel with our emotions, but also we can experience to become another than ourselves. So we can start to uh, dance as we were a tree, for example, or a cloud, or the star. And after that, we can also experience through dance our death or the death of one person we love. Also, we can dance as if we were death itself or a god. So all these experiences, I think, are very pedagogical for us, and they can connect us and explain to us in a very simple way the fact that we share a lot, not only between humans, but also with the planet and the universe. So
mm,
we are more than just ourselves. And this is, I think, the most important message I want to share with this FÜYA method.
mm. Um, like when I see you, I see a very sweet face, full of tenderness. Yeah. But then when I have seen you, in action,
Mm.
and then, for example, I explored your web page, and the your body expression changes completely. And it's
I'm no
and it's
more
the same
myself.
Damiano. That's the same Damiano. Damiano, like with that, showing like that bravery and boldness, and the same time that part like like is like releasing something, getting rid of something that was exploding in that part, in that moment, the sadness, everything, and you just do it naturally.
This
and
is a
and
very important for Butoh dance because Butoh dance teaches us that authentic dance comes from beautiful emptiness,
mm,
comes from this void that is full and empty at the same time, and vice versa. And so when we dance, we are no more just ourselves, and we don't dance our expression, our name, our face, but we are danced by someone or something. And this is very important. It's very cathartic, I think. It's an
mm,
experience that I wanted to share also with the schools, in schools, for example. Because I think it's a very important to have this experience, because it can help us. It can helps us. It can facilitate our capability of understand what is different from us. So
mm,
it has a lot to do, it has a lot in common with the term empathy, but it's not just explaining it, it's about dancing it and making an alchemical body through it.
mm,
This is very important. So, when, for example, I perform and there is a video maker or a photographer, I always wanted to see pictures and videos because I know that it's not me in that moment. So also it's also important to see the dance. I use, for example, photography and video making also to doing rehearsals and choreography because I wanted to study how that image hits the audience. So I learn a lot about from photography to build the choreography and to build a new picture. And I also know from my experience that this is also a healing process. For example, during my morning during my grief, I used to, I thought I could not dance anymore for a period, but dance um, knocked to my door and say to me, go dance, go and dance. And through dancing, through filming also that performance, through photography, I also understood more myself, my feelings, my grief process, and it helped me a lot.
yeah, very therapeutic, very,
Yes,
yeah, transformative.
it's very transformative. Yes,
Yeah, yeah. And then also when you were talking about the audience is immersed in this experience too, is
yes.
actively participating some way, somehow. Something is happening to these human
While
creatures, as you mentioned, huh?
While you are dancing, you also feel their memories. You feel it's more than presence. It's
Hmm.
like also about memories and thoughts and emotions they have during the performance. So it changes, the audience changes the performance. So
Mm,
you can dance the same performance, the same choreography with the same music, but with a different audience or in a different place. It
mm,
changes everything.
yeah. Um, 2 months ago, I also was able to listen to your communication, where you presented this research and this project that you are doing at schools with children.
With
And
children,
as a teacher, I was thrilled to listening to what you're doing and helping children to they are connected to this. It's like
they
they,
are dance. They are dancing bodies. And
yes.
when I opened this workshop with a primary school, they were children between 10 and 11 years old. Now I'm writing the article about it. And I said to them that in Butoh dance there is no right and no wrong movement. So they were like, "What? We are at school and there are no rules?" So it was very, very beautiful. And I danced for them um, before the practice. So they were very inspired by dance. And they also used a lot of face mimics, for example. That is something that is rare with the adults. You have to work a lot for dance with your face when you are adult. And but with children was very interesting. And some of them were like Butoh dancers. They were crazy.
Yeah. Well, to dance rocks, right? For them, it
Yeah.
was, yeah. Yeah. Um, I can also imagine that having teachers around observing that experience in their students can help them to connect also with the way they interact with them in the daily routine,
Yes,
right?
I was very lucky to have this teacher. She promoted this. She knew about Butoh dance, and she also was present in one of Kazuono's performances. So she was very keen on it, and she also uses a lot of body exercises with the children, and we talked a lot about this. And also, she suggested me to split the class in two in the final moment of the workshop, to let the children in a peer-to-peer way understand how some of them that were not so in the center of the attention of the class were very interesting and surprisingly interesting in this activity. So I think it's we shared a lot of thoughts about this. And we thought that it's important also to insert this not athletic but artistic
Mm,
experience through dance in school, because it can open new dimension for from learning and also um for express something that is not always expressed, for example, using verbal mode, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I think that you mentioned that when in that communication that they were in 11, 12-year-old children,
10, 11.
10, 10, 11, and that is a critical stage when they start, also getting into pre-adolescence or
Yes.
adolescence.
And also
So,
they are switching in Italy, they are switching school because they end the primary school and start secondary school. So it's that period, yes.
mm, mm, mm. Damiano, uh, besides this death pedagogy or pedagogy of death, you also have this queer pedagogy that I
Mm.
see too. Uh, I want to congratulate you for m- taking that essence and make it formal into education. That is so necessary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Important. And I wrote a book about it. It's The Dance of Eros and Thanatos for a Queer Pedagogy. And for me, it was important um, to use this term queer. And also in this book, I try to explain three different meanings that this term could have. Because first, we can use it as inside the LGBTQ plus AI plus. So we can use it like an expression inside the more broader queer world. A second way to use this term is like an umbrella term for all LGBTQ plus term. But
Mm,
the third way we can use it, and it's proposed by Judith Butler, for example, but also reading some Michel Foucault books, we can use the queer term as something that challenges all the differences, so that in a certain way have inside also heteronormativity. And so I want to stress this third use of the queer term, not to make new boundaries between genders or expressions, but to link them in a common ground. It's very important. So queer pedagogy for me, through Butoh dance, for example, that is the dance of Eros
Yeah.
and Thanatos, it's a common ground
Mm,
between all human expressions and also the more than just human expressions. There are interesting fields in a queer theory that challenges the difference between humanity and non-human things. There is
mm,
also the Cyborg Manifesto from Donna Haraway, and there are a lot of thoughts in a philosophical way about this important thing of joining labels and also being able to not just focus on labels, but also have the possibility to play with them, for example. And
mm,
through us, we can do it. And while we are dancing, we can be yeah, a male, but also a female, but also a transgender, but also a star, a cloud, an animal, a tiger. So we have access to this a possibility of playing with things. And I think this is a very interesting concept um, to link with the queer term.
I love it. And when you are saying the play, that's like the aim of everything, to let us play, right? And no matter where we are, in which moment we are, just let us play and be ourselves by playing
Yes.
and exploring.
And
Yeah.
exploring. And I think this is about pedagogy, to understand who you are in that moment, because maybe in another moment you are another. You have to have the possibility of express yourself, and play is and it's a very important dimension to do
Mm,
this. Also because play always have rules
mm,
too.
mm,
So it's important also to build a safe environment to do
mm,
it. And so also queer pedagogy is also um, research about telling how dance could be a safe environment to do this. Because it's in safe without limitation, without
mm,
limitation of expressions, but freeing
mm.
expression.
Yeah. And feeling this trust on what is presented in the outside, and that we're gonna be, or that person that is exploring is going to be accompanied in a, and is safe, just as you are mentioning. And with that, I would like to connect it with, I wish you could come to Spain and do these Butoh dance workshops somewhere. But I know that you have this offer of people to try and explore throughout this metamorphose, I will say it, or yeah, I don't know. Is there a possibility,
Yeah,
Damiano?
yeah. Yeah, I'm always happy to share workshops. So, for example, in March, I will be in Brussels and to give a 3 days workshop class there. And also, I was invited there with other Butoh dancers. But this 3 days workshop is all by me. and they were very interested in this queer pedagogy research. And but also I think that there is a common ground because the queer pedagogy research lead me to the alchemical body, and also lead me to this seasons
Hmm.
workshop, and also it leads to this research about death and life that are connected. And so I think that there is a lot to do with research, and I hope to share it with the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
You
why
are
I'm
doing it.
also writing articles.
Yeah, yeah. And you are doing it, Damiano. It's now a reality, no? And
It's a
there's more
dream for me.
to come. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, uh, your parting words, Damiano. How do you, something that you would like to say, something, whatever you feel like, just so we can finish. That is a shame, but I don't want to take more of your precious time, and I
Thank
appreciate conversation that we're having. So, some your parting words. Which words do you want to finish
I
with?
want to finish with this mantra for me that is dance inside, outside, and beyond.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Damiano, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I have learned from you, and I'm still learning, and that makes me very excited. And I will try to spread your knowledge and your work wherever I go, because well, I also have this Gestalt training, besides education. So in a way, I have experience, not the way you have, but in a way, in in some moments in my life, I have connected with the body, with this alchemy and this catharsis. So that's why I wish to keep on. I will be following your work, and keep on doing it, because you are giving magic and this reminder to the world of what really matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. I was very happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll see you on the next episode of Innovate and Educate Creative Bulletin News. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye. Bye.